Hey YouTube, it's me, Jen, your pudgy picker.
And Kim.
And I am still getting over being sick.
Yes. So if I sound a little muffled, it's because I'm trying not to catch her germs over here.
I'm over the worst of it.
Yeah.
I had 3.5 days where I didn't know where I was, who I was, or what was going on around me.
And it was blissful for her child still
I
at home.
know. I asked Connor, my editor, I'm like, wasn't it weird, like, not having me around and I was, like, sleeping for 3 days? He goes, it was a lot quieter. Oh, the little darling. So we are again here for another podcast. So if I sound like I have my nose pinched with a clothespin, you'll know why. So this is podcast number 31.
31.
She looked at me like,
Are you going to say it right? 31.
Yeah. So this week we decided to talk about some revamping we're going to be doing in our booth. We've talked a whole bunch of times before about having
Canadian there, about.
about restocking days, which we are very fortunate to have with our booth, with our owners of the Antique Mall. And it's a time for people to move large displays or large pieces of furniture or revamp their booth in a big way that would be very difficult to do while there's customers in the store.
Amen.
So when you have over 100 vendors in there doing it all in one day, It gets a little crazy.
Yeah, can't find nothing to haul your stuff around
Oh
with.
yeah,
No
all the carts are
no
used. If you
ladders.
if you need a hammer, you better bring your own.
Vacuums.
Yeah.
No tools.
So it's a time for everybody to use all that. So that's definitely something that we have to keep in mind. Is we're bringing.
Making a list of all our tools.
Yes, we're bringing everything we need because we don't want to have to rely or wait on someone else to use something.
Yep.
So I guess we're going to talk about our planning for what we're going to do. We have some basic brown shelving units that you see at any Walmart, any Kmart, just absolutely basic. They got the little cardboard back on them. They're press board, they're, wood tone. They have the, the veneer that makes them look like they're wood. Yeah. So we have 2 of those. If you need a reference point, I'm thinking about asking Connor to do, instead of our usual picture, to maybe do a picture of our booth. Or you can go back and look at the last booth tour we did. Mm-hmm. As you're standing in the aisle, you look straight back. We have a large white display piece that's in the center back of our booth. And to the right and to the left of that are the 2 shelves we are talking about replacing.
Yep.
So the good thing about this is we have laminated shelves that are on the right and left walls. We're essentially going to be using the same thing. They are going to be deeper by maybe 2-3 inches.
Yeah.
So this is something we've been wanting to do. It is actually going to give us probably an extra foot, because the shelves, there's probably a foot on, left over from the edge of that the shelves to the wall.
Yeah. So
that is going to be completely shelves. Mm-hmm. Pardon me. And we're going to be doing 4 shelves that'll be from that big unit in the back all the way to the wall. So we're going to get more use of space. They're laminated in a white, so the items that you put on there are going to stand out more.
Yep.
Sometimes when you get those wooden shelves in there, things just kind of disappear or blend in.
Yeah, especially if they're the same color.
Yeah, we do have like lace panels that are tacked in the back that come all the way down in the back, that are behind the shelves, so you can, see a little bit of a contrast there. That seemed to help, but our long term, even when we first moved in, is I think we always talked about we're going to get to a point where we're going to want to replace these with shelves.
Yeah, we just wanted to make sure we were at the point where we could, consciously invest a little bit more money in something in the booth.
Yeah, they're kind of a standard item, and if you go into a Home Depot or a Lowe's, they are, like I said, laminated shelves. They are going to be a certain price. It's not like, you wait for them to go on sale or anything
Yeah.
else. It is a cost, to buy that and to buy the L brackets to mount them onto the wall. But we've been in this new space for 2 years. We know it's only going to be able to enhance what we can sell and how much we can store on those shelves.
I think it's going to brighten up the back corners, the back walls a little more.
Yeah.
They're kind of dark, and the white always draws your eyes. So
Yeah, so like we said, go back and look at our last booth tour. You'll see these shelves that are on the right. We have 3. The last one on the bottom is about, I think it's 18 inches from the floor to the shelf. So we're able to put some taller items, have them tucked up underneath that first shelf. And then the spacing on the shelves are 12 inches. So you have that bottom one's 18 inches off the floor. The next one is 12 inches, and the next one's 12 inches. So we're going to essentially do the same thing on the back wall, but we're going to have one more above. So we'll have 4 shelves. That will still leave us plenty of wall space, since we do have lots of things we like to hang up.
that's one thing we wanted to maintain, was the amount of
Yes.
wall space we have.
And there are a lot of booths that don't have a lot of wall space because they don't sell a lot of things that hang on the wall. And there are more that have a lot more wall space than we do.
And set everything on the floor. No.
It's just one of those things that,
Yeah.
we know consistently basically what we're selling, that we sell a certain amount of things that hang on the wall as opposed to sit on a shelf.
Yep.
So when we had the idea, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is the day we're going to do it. We're going to do it on a restocking day. The store is open 1 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So we have a large span of
7
time
hours.
to get in there.
I'm packing a lunch.
Dig in, do what we got to do. So when we started thinking about that, we thought, well, this would be the perfect opportunity to move things around. And then we got talking about it even more, and we're like, we have a certain amount of time. Now you think, wow, that's a long time. It should be easy to, mount those shelves and then just kind of move stuff around. We wanted to have a blueprint, an idea of how we wanted things to be.
Well, yeah, because we've mentioned before that we, in the past, have always tried once a year to kind of switch the booth around completely. Things that are on the left, maybe on the right. Things that are high, go low. So to mix it up to make it more eye appealing. And of course, our sales have always been better right after we've done that, because things that are kind of hidden or hadn't been noticed or looked over become more prominent. So that's this will be our time.
Yeah, and the marketing of the store is really boosted around this time of year to say, hey, everybody, we had a big restocking day. We had a ton more things brought in. A lot of the booths are totally different. So it is a way to get people in the door to say, things are new, things are different. There's more, it's fresh, it's seasonal. So
we didn't even, the last 2 times they had restocking days, we didn't go in and do anything major.
no.
We didn't even go in on those special days. I think the last 2 times we went in and did our usual restock and straighten and everything, but we really haven't done anything serious in a while.
No, we haven't. And we've been there, it was 2 years in September.
Yep.
So to say, well, we make it an effort to revamp every year, we haven't really done that since we've been in this new space.
Well, I think too it's because we were still experimenting per se, feeling out the market there, because it is a lot different sales wise for us than it was in the last place. So I think that we've got a little better handle on it now. It's a little easier to dive in and move stuff around.
So whether you're going to be, coming into a new space, going to a different mall, or doing something like this where you're thinking, we're really going to change up, our display, or how we display things, or the display pieces are going to be changing out. This is an opportunity for you to go in and to totally, make it happen. Switch things around, switch it up. We have certain items that we're wondering if they're just kind of slow sellers or no sellers.
Yep.
But then we think, is that because they are stagnant in a certain place in the booth? Is it just people are missing those items?
Yeah.
So this is really going to be a chance for us
test.
to move things around. And if they aren't selling, then we're going to kind of maybe back off of those items.
Yeah.
So, we're always looking for ways to, revamp, redo, keep the interest going. And even for people who come to our booth regularly, we want them to be, intrigued to take a longer look than they normally do. Or if people happen to go by our booth and don't go in as much or aren't considered our regular customers, to make them stop and look and say, oh, this looks really different.
So I don't remember seeing that before.
Yeah, so that's a big deal. So, we're doing it to keep, our customers happy and get new people to come in and to give the booth a second look.
Yeah.
So, and we've talked about this before, every booth, no matter how you set it up or how beautifully it's set up, there's going to be certain areas in the booth that aren't like prime real estate. They aren't going to be the easiest to see, the easiest to get to, the natural place your eye stops.
Yep.
So in switching those things up, you're going to be able to display, more items in more areas for people to look at and, to get that interest to move around. So that's what we're dealing with. So we sat down today. We took a few pictures of the booth, and then Kim and I sat down in the cafe area. We probably should have done this somewhere else. We were interrupted 3 million times today.
Yes. Everybody wanted to talk to us.
As everybody comes over, oh, are you in the middle of something? Yeah, we're just, oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. No, we enjoy everybody's company up there.
Sure we do.
So, but, it was a chance for us to sit down, and then we'd start talking, and we'd say, wait a minute, how many shelves are on that? Okay, hang on, let's bring up the picture and look. So, we're going to tell you how, step by step, how we're going to redo this. So that if you are up for revamping, moving, changing things up, you're going to have an idea of what our game plan is so that you can say, I like the way they organized how they were going to do it so that it doesn't take as long. We didn't want to be up there and to put up these new shelves and then we look at each other and go, okay, what should we put here? What should we put there? Yeah. We wanted to kind of have a map or a list
a plan
of where things are going so that she can
plan.
say, well, I'm going to work on this corner with these items. And then we can work together because we're working off of the same map. So we both know where everything goes. So in order to do that, the first thing we're going to do when we get there is the 2 shelves that we are getting rid of. We're going to get some boxes, some storage boxes from up front, cardboard boxes that they use for customer stuff. And we're going to fill those with everything off of those 2 shelves.
Yep, get them out of there.
Get them out of there.
Stick a price tag on them.
Yep, so we are going to sell them. In fact, we bought those from another vendor forever ago.
Forever ago.
And we literally had 2 more of those shelves.
They were taller, though.
Yeah, do you remember what happened to one of them
well,
when we went to move it?
It seems kind of like when you went to move one of them, you stood there with a piece in your hand, and the rest of it was going every other direction.
Yeah, so we went to move it, and it decided it no longer wanted to participate. And those things are literally compressed sawdust.
Yep.
So one screw comes out, it's a house of cards. It was literally a pile of boards. And I go, okay, I guess we're not going to use that one.
No.
So these 2, I think they're not really, really big. I mean, some units you see there. These you could probably buy for $45 to $50 a piece if you went to Walmart.
Yeah, they're about 5 feet tall and about 2 foot wide. 2 foot
wide?
2 foot wide.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the shelves aren't very deep, maybe 8 inches, if that.
Yeah.
7 or 8 inches. So they're not. It's another reason why we're going with the deeper ones. We're going to gain twice as much depth for back there.
So that's what our game plan is. We're immediately going to go in. Get some boxes, take all of the stuff that is on those shelves and put them in boxes and set them aside. And then we're going to pull those 2 shelves out. Now, in the next week or so after this podcast goes up, I am going to be documenting this as we go along and make a video of it. So you'll get to, be able to see that and see how we did it. Say, okay, here's what we're going to do. Okay, we did that. Here's what we're going to do next. Okay, we did that. So, to give you some updates as the day progresses so that you can see how this is working. And also it would be a good opportunity to say,
yep,
this is what we were going to do, and this is why it worked or didn't work.
Well, they say the best laid plans, always tend to fall through somewhere.
Yeah, it's like anything else. You can sit there and plan and decide how you want to do it. That doesn't mean it's going to go that way.
That's like, I'm going to change my living room and I'm going to put this, that, and the other there, and you look at it and go, oh no, it's not working.
You just look at it and go, no. So after we get the shelves pulled out of the booth, we're going to be putting them in the furniture area in the back, and we're going to be pricing those to sell, and then that money will go right back
into the booth.
Yeah, right back into our booth. So I think we're going to put $22 on each of them, or both for $40.
I think you said.
Yeah. So I mean, they do have they're not 100% the greatest condition, because those shelves are not meant to last forever.
No.
And I think one even say not for sale. Somebody wrote with marker on the side of it.
I know.
Yeah.
Come
so
on.
a magic eraser could probably help that, but at this point, I'm not willing to invest any time.
Or you know what they say too? If you take like the dry erase markers and write over it and then wipe it right away, it helps lift it right back up. Or rewrite over the top of it with a marker; it'll come off.
So point being, we're not looking to become millionaires off of these shelves.
No.
We just want, and if somebody's coming in and just starting, that's a perfect price for them to pick them, because that's what we did. We picked them up when they were pretty cheap.
Or people like us, I always, when I'm there, I make it a habit to go through the furniture room, because you never know what's back there.
And after we do all these shelves and we have no more room to be putting any feature stuff in there, we're still going to be looking.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's how
never know.
Yeah.
Never know.
Yeah, so once those shelves are pulled out of there, then actually Connor, my son, will be coming with us. He's going to be helping us to get the shelves put up. And then once those are taken care of, we're going to dismiss him when we start moving stuff, because he'll only be in the way. So that's what we'll do. We'll start, sketching out how we're going to put those up. We already know how, measure-wise where they're going to be put up. So the shelves will go up at that point. And then once those are up, then we start moving stuff. Now, that's where we really sat down today and made the plans and said, okay, here's how we're going to tackle it. And we're going to tell you what we did.
Are you ready?
But first we're going to go to commercial. No,
Get out your pens and paper, ladies.
So,
and gentlemen.
The thing we decided to do was to actually write down major categories of items that we carry. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to look at, you know what? I got mine here somewhere.
I thought you said you left it in the car.
No, my regular notebook that we do for our podcast.
Okay. Here, I was going to share mine, and you don't even want it. It's okay, fine. I don't want to let you look at it anyway.
I'm rejecting your notes, not you. Okay, so what we did is we wrote down, I believe I have 13 categories. Is that what you had?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 14.
Ooh. Well, then let me read mine slowly, and then you tell me what I missed.
Okay, I'll put a little star next to it.
So these are areas of things that we have a decent amount.
Yes.
So we have African items. That would be art, deco, etc. 2, nautical. We always talk about nautical. 3, handmade items. Number 4 is wine decor. We have my quart cages, little wine signs, wine glasses that have funny things written on them. Mm-hmm. So that's wine decor. Number 5 is kitchen type items. Number 6, we have a lot of hand-blown glass, figurines, animals, paperweights, art,
Yep.
A lot of different glass stuff. Next item is we have frames. Category 8 is men's stuff, or men type decorating, or man cave.
Man cave.
Man cave items. Number 9, we have animals, and a category of that would be owls. We seem to have a lot of those. Number 10 is jewelry, trees, or other jewelry that is not earrings and is not on the spinner in the center of the booth. Number 11 is Asian. That would be art, my incense, any kind of, figurines, little signs, anything that is Asian inspired.
Asian Oriental.
12 would be birds, cages, and birdhouses, because we seem to have a plethora of those. And 13, the category I have is purses. So what did I miss, Kimberly?
Oh, the one you said, well, I already knew that, so I didn't have to write it down. Lamps.
Lamps. Yes, lamps.
Lamps and little lighted lights and...
Since we have electricity and since lamps are quite tall, it's kind of, certain things like that, we were kind of limited as to where we could put them.
Yeah.
So what we did is we wrote all these categories down, and then we took a separate piece of paper and we wrote down, we have back wall. Back wall has the center, which is that large white, display piece. Then our new shelves that are on the right of that and to the left of that. And then another piece of paper we wrote left wall and right wall.
Yep, because we're not going to bother with anything in the middle, because that's been recently changed and we're quite happy with that.
Yeah, and since we're using the purses as a category, we have purses that are in some of those cubbies that I do my fabric in, so that will free up a little more space there to put more fabric. Because you can never have enough fabric. And with the auction I went to, I have fabric out the wazoo.
You still have just a little bit of it downstairs, huh? Just a little...
I have probably 10 milk crates full still.
No.
Like priced, ready to go. So that's what we did. We have our categories, and we wrote, specifically where in the booth. So then we started brainstorming and saying, okay, let's start in the back. What are we going to put there? So we started kind of getting categories that were similar, that it wouldn't look so odd.
Yep.
Like we wouldn't have picture frames and then like kid stuff. I mean, it kind of had, that was another, did I write that? Did we write that one down? No, we didn't.
No,
kid stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have that much.
Well, we didn't have it on the list, but we have it in our design.
That's why when I just saw it, I was like, wait a minute, I don't remember that on the list. So then what we started to do is we started to, we know where everything is. We took the pictures in our booth. So we started saying, okay, what are we going to put on those shelves? Because as soon as those white shelves go in the back, to the right or to the left, they're going to be fresh. So what are we going to take and move there?
Yep.
And then that's how we're going to start moving things.
Yep.
So we decided from where everything is, where do we want to put it that's totally different? Mm-hmm. So to give you an example, the back wall, to the right, we had all of our nautical stuff on one of those brown shelves.
Yeah.
It's been there for a while. We pulled it forward for the display in the front.
And it's been selling from there.
Yeah. Oh, it did really well when we had it up in the front. Yeah. But in the back, it's
sold.
It's been there a while.
Yeah.
So we are going to be moving where? Where are we going to put the nautical stuff now, Kimberly?
We're going to bring it up to the side left wall.
Yep.
And we're going to split the shelves in half with another item, because we've decided that in both cases, the second item, which we'll discuss in a minute, some of those items tend to always be tall and may not always fit on a lower shelf. So we split those in half per se, so that we could have taller stuff on the top shelf and then continue with that theme right under it.
Yep. So that other item we're talking about is men's stuff. We do not have a ton of it, but it's to the back and to the left.
Yeah.
So that will be pulled forward up onto the left wall. Now, we're not going to go over all these categories like in depth. We're just going to give you an idea of some of the more, not troublesome, but more non-prime real estate areas, what we have there now, and where we want to move that. That back shelf toward the bottom, kitchen items.
Yep.
We've always sold kitchen items. We've always done well on kitchen items. But it's unless you walk into the booth and look down or bend down, you're going to miss a majority of that. And that
lower shelves are always, that's the hard spot to figure out what to put there.
And that can't be helped.
No.
I mean, it doesn't matter how well you set up your space. It's just like a store. When you walk in, you're not going to be able to stand in one place and see everything. And everything's easily in reach and very easy to see. It's just, there's going to be things on a lower shelf. There's going to be things that are eye level.
And that's why people pay bigger bucks to be eye level.
Yeah, that's why when you go in the cereal aisle, all the kids' cereal's on the bottom where the kids can reach it and beg for it.
Yep.
There's a whole psychology
there really is
to it.
Truthfully.
So, what are we going to be putting on that back shelf toward the bottom then?
The back right.
No, on the bottom of the main shelf.
Oh,
in
the
back.
main one. Yeah, that's where we're going to put the purses and bags. We're going to come up with a device to help keep them from being pushed too far back so that we won't have to worry about them getting lost out of sight.
Yeah, so purses are something that if you're a woman and you like looking at purses,
I do.
we could hang them from the I said this earlier. We could hang them from the ceiling like a piñata, and there'd be women climbing the walls and shelves trying to get to them.
Yep.
If you see purses and you like purses, you're going to look at the purses.
Yep.
So the bottom shelf and the one up from the bottom shelf are going to be purses. So I've been selling less Vera Bradley purses online, so a lot of those are going to be coming out to the booth. Vera Bradley still does well in the antique mall. There's some people that have had pieces there for quite some time. Well, some people are quite ambitious.
Yeah.
We've seen one
it's
for
like they just
$48.
They just brought them straight out of the factory and hung them up there, you'd think, but that's not what happened.
Yeah, so, I don't like to give stuff away, but I don't like to sit and look at stuff for months on end. I sell things because I want to sell them, not because I want to dust them and look at them every week. And I want to have more space to bring more out. Yeah. So they're priced to sell, and we'll have 2 shelves. We have some dividers. We're kind of toying with a few ideas. So, as Kim said, they don't get shoved too far back, because those shelves
They're really deep shelves.
Are quite deep.
Yes.
They're probably a good 18 inches deep.
I would say probably close to that, yeah.
And plus to have some dividers so that they're almost like a cubby. So when you put them in there, they're not falling over. So it has more of an organized look to it. So in the back, that's where those will be going. The purses are currently in some of the cubbies, 4, I believe, cubbies.
Yes.
That are those new stands that we got that hold the fabric. So that will be able to have more fabric. So we're hoping that'll bring, the kitchen stuff will be on the right wall. So that will be in a more prime spot so that we are able to see, how well that does. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of an interesting experiment that we're moving things around enough that we're going to be able to see, is this something we want to keep buying?
Yeah, because at the moment, it's like some of the items have been there for a while, but it's not just a couple of items. It's almost like that whole corner really hasn't moved much. So since they do tend to be sort of similar in that section, it's like, so is this stuff just not selling? Are people just not seeing it? Is it blending in? So by moving it around a little bit, we'll find out if it's going to sell, and especially this time of year, and if not.
Now, when we talked about it earlier,
yeah,
this goes into our thought process that we like to share with people. What did you say when I said, well, we could bring that, more toward the front on these particular shelves to the right, so people be able to see them? And what did you say? I hope you remember.
I said I wanted the men's right up front.
No,
is that what
we're talking about the kitchen stuff.
Oh,
on the front.
The kitchen
Remember?
Stuff. Yes.
And you were like,
yep.
Well,
you see, the kitchen stuff. I swear, ever since we started doing this, the kitchen stuff has always pretty much been in the same area on the big white
Since
shelf
we've
in the
been
back.
in this place over 2 years.
Yeah, and
it has.
and just like in the other place too, we kind of had it in the center, and we'd kind of shift it down or shift it up, but the kitchen stuff was always on that unit, and we never put it anywhere
Yeah,
else.
even in the old space, yeah.
So she said, "Where should we put the kitchen stuff?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't." I said, just thinking about it, it's like I like where it is, and I don't want to change it, though I know I need to, because it's obviously not being seen there. So that was one of those moments of, aha.
Yeah.
You gotta think outside the box. You have to go outside of your comfort zone sometimes. You have to do something that goes against your grain.
And it's one of those, but that's where we've always had it. And there was one other thing you said about it. And you stopped yourself.
Yeah, because it's not pretty. It's utilitarian, as you used. I was trying to find words for it earlier. Yeah. Because it's not that pretty, fun, wee-hee kind of stuff, decorative. It's, and they're nice items, don't get me wrong. And, but still, it's not the same. A kitchen colander is not the same as a pretty little fluffy whatever to hang on the wall, you know.
But it's funny because when you said that, you go, well, it's just, I don't know, it's not all that nice to look, or it's all it's not really pretty, and you say, wait. Why am I thinking that way?
Yep.
So we're always telling you to question and stop yourself when you think of something and think, why are you thinking that way?
Yeah.
Why is that? And I just think that I don't know, I don't know if this is the right way to phrase it, but the kitchen items in our booth have always been like the little redheaded stepchild.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't quite belong, but we tolerate you here. Yes. And even though they don't sell like hotcakes, they do well. It's a solid category to sell.
Yeah.
It's not something you want to go,
selective.
Look at this first.
Yes.
And that's it, by us putting it in that place.
Yep.
There's going to be more of a focus on it.
Yeah.
And I can honestly tell you, when it comes to looking at kitchen items, I don't look at, unless it's something I see it and, oh, wow, look at that, or it's a great price. I don't necessarily seek out kitchen items.
Yep.
And I think that's why. Because we know where it's going to be, and we're kind of like, well, yeah, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I just brought in, if you guys have watched my channel, I had a really nice brown with white flowers ceramic canister set I just bought, because I said, well, we have that, and we do the colanders, and we have this piece or that piece, or we occasionally have a beautiful teapot, so that's the kind of things that we want people to be looking at.
As I'm sitting here and you're talking, and a picture popped in my head at the other booth for a little while, in the single booth. On the right-hand side, on those white shelves, on the top, I did have a canister set there once. And some butterbells.
Yep.
That were new. So, I guess a little bit of it has been elsewhere.
Yeah, you know what? And let's stop here, because we don't want people to get... We were trying ourselves not to get hung up on the... Everything belongs in a category, and this category goes here and nowhere else. There has to be room for staging.
Yep.
There has to be room for... You don't go into your house and you look, and there's all one type of item in one spot, and then you look over here and there's all... Like you have a bookshelf, it only has books. No, you look at any bookshelf in any magazine, and it's got... vases, figurines, vases, pictures, books. Even the books are turned different ways. Yeah. They're categorized in a certain way. Yeah. So we kept saying to ourselves, we're doing this as a basic roadmap of how we want to set things up. There has to be room for staging. And I think once we get these shelves in, and we get everything put where it needs to go, then we even said, we concentrate so much on that shelf in the front. Boy, the shelf in the front, shelf in the front, shelf in the front. We stage that. We stage it every month, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what are we going to put there? What are we going to put there? And I said, now that we have, the permanent shelves are going to be there, and we have almost the max amount of space we can use, there's other spaces now we can stage like that.
A little bit better than we've been doing.
So, it's not one or the other. It isn't staged to make it look pretty or categorized. It has to be a nice blending.
Yeah, I was going to say hand in hand with each other.
But it has to lean, I would say, if I had to say what percentage is put it in a category, what percentage is stage it, it's got to be more in a category.
Yeah.
Because when you go into a store, it has to make sense.
Yep.
You go in and there's clothes, then there's shoes, then there's lingerie, then there's the sleepwear, and then there's your socks, and so it has to make sense so that when somebody comes in and says, I like picture frames, oh look, there's picture frames, that they're in one particular area, so that the person can look and see them and then say, okay, I'm done looking at picture frames. They turn around and walk past 10 other picture frames that are in a whole nother spot.
Yeah, because we did that once before. So.
Yeah, and it's like, that made sense to us as sellers. It did not make sense as a buyer.
Yep, you have to look at it as a buyer.
So that was the point. So, we're doing the category, but we want staging is so important as well.
Yep, you have to make it visually appealing, because otherwise it'd be like going into one of those warehouse places and everything's on a shelf. And that's it.
And you know what? When you go to a place that has mannequins and everything staged, you're paying more. Because you're paying for that designer to come in and say, I'm going to, this is a furniture store and we're going to put flowers and a lamp and hang things on the wall. We want it to look like a room you can just go in and sit down and say, this is my living room. Then there's other stores. I know a couple one I'm talking about. They say, this is a warehouse. It's not heated as much as you'd think in the winter. We have lines of couches. We don't stage stuff. You're getting a better price because it's not staged.
Yep.
So, there's this whole warehouse mentality. You go in and, it's not painted pretty, and it is a warehouse. There's, stacks they take down with tow motors and forklifts. So,
see, in a case like that, I am shopping for a couch. I am wanting the best deal. I've already shopped around, kind of know what I want, so I'm going to go there and get it at the best price. With us, people they don't come in necessarily
because
looking.
I need 10 gallons of cooking oil.
Yes. So they don't come in there looking for, I am going in there just for this item. They're going in there to look around.
Because shopping at our place is an experience.
Yes.
So I guess that's
where the staging
because
comes in.
when you say I'm going to this warehouse store to buy, things I need, you're going there because you're going to get a good price for what you're getting. And you don't need it to be fluffy. You don't need to going in to buy, a big drum of, laundry detergent. I don't need it to be all fancied up. So
you're going in because you need, and it's something to carry and you need it.
And we've said before,
and there's nothing there we have that you need.
Yeah, we've said before, our business is an emotional,
and we hope though when you see it that you have to have it. And
it's an emotional draw,
but you don't walk in.
Part of that is staging it in such a way that people look at it and think, "Oh, wow, that looks really cool,"
that would fit right in that spot, or that place over here, and I could
think of it this way. Have you ever watched? And I don't watch them anymore because they irritate me. When they do like house hunting, they show it. And when they stage the house, the people that are coming in to look at the house go, oh, wow, look at this bed, or, look at this couch. They're looking at things that they're not going to get when they buy that house. It's the feeling they're selling. And that's a big deal because you think, oh, wow, this couch is so nice, or I love the color on the walls. All things that are easily changed, or you're not going to get when you buy that house. You're selling a feeling. You're selling the warmth of the place. And that's what we're marketing as well.
Well, if you walk into an empty house, some people have a harder time imagining, well, this is a big room. What would I put here? Or how would you put that there? And they get so overwhelmed with thinking about it that they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But that's another thing about our place, too, is a lot of people prefer to come in and have this stuff ready and take it home and put it on a shelf. They don't want to think about it and have to figure up a plan for something.
Yeah. So I have a piece in there now that Kim and I were talking about, and I'm like, that looks like what other people have, but they have it like whitewashed, or I said it's rustic enough where it's like, oh, that's cute, but it's too rustic. It's rustic, but it's too rustic. So, but back to what we're talking about.
Yes.
I know we went off on a tangent, but we are back.
We'd never do that.
No.
Never.
So, having the categories, deciding where the categories are going to go, what makes most sense. In fact, we had a couple times where we're like, when we were getting down to where we had a few shelves left and a few categories left, and we were like, ooh, this is very close to where it is now, maybe a little higher, a little lower, we need to switch it out with something else. So we essentially have a map that has what shelves, what goes on each shelf. Now, that being said, we'd say, okay, well, this shelf will have this item on, and the next shelf will have this item on. And then we stop and we say, these shelves are deeper, these shelves are longer. Do we have enough to go on this shelf? Do we have too much? Could it go to another shelf? So we kind of had to toy with the idea of what we have now and what we have at home. That, is this a category that we can sustain, that is worth making a place for?
Yep.
And that's important.
Yep. Or blending things together that would make sense again. Because, like we were talking about the picture frames. In the old place when we had them up there, they were on a not very deep shelf, the ones that were on the side.
It was on a very narrow shelf,
Yep.
and that was, the shelf was not that, it was maybe, 8 inches deep?
Well, when you
And
moved
that
them
was
to that.
perfect
Yeah.
for that, because you could have that and then maybe put a little teeny figurine or something in front of it.
Yeah.
But it was basically, that's what it was.
So it was a case of, well, yeah, I know we had enough for that, but you've got to remember how deep the shelf is, which means there's going to be, and you want something, you can share the shelf with something, but again, those are high, so you need something low. Can we use this or do that?
Plus, you got to consider the shelves are pretty much for the whole booth now, except for that one piece in the back, are 12 inches. So you have that amount of space, and you think, well, if we have things that are taller, they could go on top. But we have a lot of things that are very low profile.
Yes.
We have salt and pepper shakers. We have some of the
lot of
paperweights and things that are,
the glassware and
4 inches tall. So we're thinking in terms of how are we going to display that in a way
that you're not wasting the space.
Yeah, that you don't have,
It looks blank, even though the shelf is full. It looks empty because you got all that wall behind it showing.
Yeah, so that's a big part of it, is like being able to, stage it so it looks nice, but keeping the categories basic. Now think about it this way. When we stage that front section, that front shelf, we come up with a category and we pull items from all over the booth to fit that category. And we've done things like white things, wedding type things that are more, silver and gold things. Chrome.
Silver and gold.
Yeah.
Sorry, you got me singing. I'm doing my mother's number here.
Or,
Everything.
I don't know, what are
reminds me
some
a
of the
song.
other categories that we've done that it's...
Well, ocean, or summery, beachy. We've done crafting.
So when you think, okay, summer items, well, we had salt and pepper shakers that look like little corn cobs.
Corn cobs.
So you got, okay, well, that fits in. That's a kitchen item. Then you have maybe like a little tub or something that you could put silverware or something if you have a picnic. That may be in a different area. So you have all these different categories you're pulling from to stage that front area.
Yep.
So that's what we're going to be doing in more than just the front. We're talking about doing that big white shelf on the top shelf, and on each side of it, that top shelf that we're going to be putting in onto the right or to the left in the back are going to have lamps. But there's going to be more than just lamps on there. If we have some lamps that have like a metal base, then we could put some things around them that are in metal or kind of match that So that's areas we're going to try and stage more as well. I had my book spinner. I sold that to another vendor who does tons of books. So that's going to be coming out of the space. We had that little metal shelf that was a foot by a foot, you'd see it would probably go in a bathroom with towels and other things. That's going to be pulled out. So we have some of those smaller, display things. They're coming out. So we have an umbrella stand that has canes and umbrellas and walking sticks, and that is shoved in the very back left corner.
I don't think people even see it back there. I even forgot it was there when you said that thing, and I was like, the what? And you said, oh, in the back. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, if it's shoved in the back where even we forget about it,
yep,
customers are not seeing that.
No.
So this is all stuff that we're hoping will do better or determine whether it's something we should continue carrying. Granted, things come and go in waves as far as, this is an in item, we should carry that. We have certain categories, but if they aren't really doing that good, we're not going to really make that much of an effort to acquire things in that category.
Mm-hmm.
So, things like a huge category now is African art. Where we are now is more of a diverse, people than we were at our other space. Mm-hmm. So we're more toward the city. We're in the burbs now. We're not, in the edge of, country and fields of corn. We're in an area.
That wasn't meant as a joke. That was the truth.
No, I'm literally
yes, nurseries. Lots of nurseries.
So we're in an area where there's more people who are interested in that culture. We have more diverse people that live in that area. And if you have, the wood carvings or, any kind of African art, they do really well there. So that's something that we want to carry more. We want to appeal to the people who are shopping there.
Yep.
And that's something we find a lot of it. Some of the hand-carved masks, some of the, hand-carved animals,
yep,
the antelopes, or if you got a rhinoceros or, any of the animals or the people,
elephants,
like women carrying baskets on there.
yep,
just stuff like that. People love it. And to have, that category and to have it grouped together, it's really going to be striking,
yep,
to see that.
Mm-hmm.
And we could even make a use of fabric or other things to kind of enhance. I think once we do this, we're going to be focusing more on staging.
Yeah.
We've always had that focus, but I think we want to really, just really zhuzh that up a lot. Because that's,
zhuzh.
Yeah, you can, you like that word?
I like
I don't
that
know
word.
how it's spelled, but
Zhuzh.
yeah, zhuzh
If
it
anyone
up.
knows how to zhuzh, please spell it in the notes below.
So, I'm really excited to do this, and I really think it's gonna make a difference.
Well, here's a thought.
Uh-oh, she has a thought.
When we share things like this is what we did earlier. Things come to your mind. See how excited you are. On my way home, because we got there separate vehicles, so we had to drive over to my house in separate vehicles. And I had to stop at good old Mickey D's for my son on the way home. But on the way home, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be so exciting. Of course, the worst part's going to be the actual physical draw, all the time it takes to put the stuff up and blah. But this is going to be so nice. And I'm like thinking, oh, I'm just so excited about this. And then it's that light bulb again. Ding, ding. That's another part of this job. Are you bored? Are you tired? I don't want to take the time to go into my booth. I don't have you don't have the gumption for why not?
Yeah.
See, now doing this, it's like sparked everything all over for us again, and it'll keep us going for another year because we have all these great ideas and everything in our head we want to do. So, and that's part of the business. You got to keep involved and keep that spark. If it's no fun, you don't need to be doing it.
The way the shelves are going to be, we could for the African art, if we had a piece of fabric that exemplified that,
Scarf.
we could even go up and tack it under there and have it kind of.
I have in my room right now. I got a couple of those great big scarves and stuff that are the different African prints. I have some that are ocean prints.
Well, we got it
very easily.
We got enough fabric.
Oh well, that's true.
Fabric is not an issue.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, the creative juices get flowing, and
Yeah,
you're
you
like,
get all excited. Ooh,
yeah,
can't
and
wait.
you know, you have that, oh, this is going to be so much work, but once it's done and you stand back, you're going to be like, yeah.
It's like me in my bedroom. It's like, oh, it's so much work. I have to do the walls 3 different times before I can paint. And then it's like, I lay in there every morning, open my eyes, going, I just love my painted room.
And if I move anything in my house or I rearrange anything in my house, when I walk past that room, I stop and I look. I'm
Yeah.
so glad someone else on this planet's
Yeah.
like that,
It's
because
like,
I'll
oh,
look
it's
and
so
I'll go,
pretty.
that's so nice.
It makes me so happy.
And then half an hour later, I'll go by and look. Oh, it looks so nice.
Yeah.
And I know Mr. Pudgy Picker, he just shakes his head and laughs. He's like, you're just so weird. But I'm like, when I do something like that,
Makes me
I
happy.
enjoy the heck out of it, you know?
That's right.
And I think once we get this done, I don't really think we're going to be changing any, no, famous last words.
Yeah, no.
Any
major
major display
Yeah.
pieces.
Well, everything's by now, after all these years, is going to be pretty much new or meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really can't see any reason to change it right now. It'd have to be something pretty doggone awesome come along for me to want to stick it in there now.
Yeah. I just think that it's really gonna look nice once it's done. And then when we bring stuff in, then we can concentrate more on staging and, you know.
Yeah, we went around the store tonight and picked up a couple of little things here and there to use to help the display a little differently, and
Yeah, there was a booth. Was it last week we walked around and saw these?
Yes.
They, you know, if you've ever gone to like Joe's Crab Shack and they bring you your crabs and they're in this like little galvanized bucket that looks like it's been through the war.
Yeah. Well, they bring you those buckets with your little crabby claw things, squisher, or whatever you call those.
Oh, they're so
We haven't had crab legs in so long.
You know what? They're selling them at Aldi's. They're on sale this week. We should do that one. We could just come over here and eat them.
Just eat a ton of crab legs.
After all the work we're going to do next week, we deserve it.
We deserve something like that, that's for sure.
They're like, it's like 24 ounces, which is, you know, way more than a pound, and it's like $13.99 or something.
No, that's cheaper than going to
Amen to that.
another
They're
place.
easy to make. You just steam them in like salt water. Anyway.
Now you got me craving
I
crab
know.
legs. But anyway, when you go to those places, they bring you the buckets to put
a little
your
galvanized bucket, and they look like something you'd, you know, go and scoop some hay out for some, you know, oats for your horses or something. They got that great patina on them. And she literally probably had 30 of them in her booth, and they were different sizes.
Yes.
And we went by and we were like, ooh, those are cute. They're like $2 a piece, $1.75.
$1.75.
Because she had a couple different, you know, sizes. And when we were talking about, you know, getting a few more things for staging, and I said we should go over and get some of those because, you know, they were a good price. There was about half of them were gone.
Yeah.
So when we went up to pay for them, the lady at the register, she said, "Oh boy, these were going out of the door this weekend. People were buying them."
They were.
So we got a couple that were, you know, they weren't as deep as the pails and they were a little bit wider. They were like a foot across. So we got maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 of those. And we also said something else we could use for display is like trays. So we walked around, we picked up a couple of wood trays and a couple other ones that looked nice. So we're going to be able to use those in some staging too.
Oh, yeah. It'll look neat.
And how much did I spend? It was less than $15.
Well, I was going to say.
For like 6 pieces.
Yep.
So, you know, I'll show you. I'll probably show you those in the video we're going to do.
Yeah.
But my intention is to be there until the door's shut if necessary. And then, you know, the weeks after that we can do more, you know, more fluffing and more staging and that kind of thing. Then the concentration will be on that.
The fun stuff.
Yeah.
Like everything else in life, you got to clean it, straighten it, put it away. Then you can have the fun part.
Yeah, that's the way we were raised. You got to do the work and then do your homework, then you can go out to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem with this world nowadays. Everybody wants things up front. They don't want to have to wait for it.
Yep.
Do the hard stuff.
Yep.
So at this point, that's how we have it set up. The only thing we have not designated to have anything on is the front display.
Yeah.
because we're going to be putting winter stuff on there.
Yeah.
So that's the plan, and then after that, we're probably going to be pulling some stuff from the booth to do clearance in January.
You know, something I thought of that we didn't consider, but we will need to consider because the booth's going to look awesome and this isn't.
Okay.
All the stuff that's hanging up.
You know what? That kind of crossed my mind.
Because that's, you know, and that needs to be reorganized too. Because, I mean, it's everything. Everything that needs hung up is just hung up.
Yeah.
So those crossbars that go across the booths, we had those
With
cup
our
screws
little,
and stuff.
yeah, the little C-clamp.
So that's going to have to be something else I think we put a little more thought into, too. But that's another topic and another time.
Yeah.
We can get the other stuff done. I mean, worst case scenario, we can just pull some of that other stuff down and minimize it till we'll deal with it when we get there.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a lot. This is a lot. This is going to be a lot of work. But I think the whole point of us going over this, yes, there is a point, is if you're going to be making a major move or you're going to be moving maybe from one booth to another, you know, a bigger space, smaller space, just a space that you figure is going to have more traffic, whatever. The point is, if you have a plan in mind, if you have most of the ideas of, okay, this is how we want to set it up, then at least it's a good place to start. Now, if we get there, we start moving stuff and we're like, this just doesn't work here. What do you think?
Yeah.
Then that's when we can kind of collaborate. But to have a plan set up, and I'm going to make this up on a piece, like a poster board, and we're going to hang it up. Because when we get there, we're going to be able to just look at it and, you know, start moving stuff. Because I didn't want us to get there and to get the shelves up and go, yay, the shelves are up. And then we stand there and go,
Yeah.
what do you think should go here? Because we take a while to decide that. How long do you think we sat there and decided where everything should go?
Without the interruptions, everybody wanted to talk.
With the interruptions, it was quite long.
Yes. No,
an hour?
Probably an hour.
So that would have been time spent just standing there looking at everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to say, okay, this is the direction we're going in. Okay, you're going to work on nautical stuff over here. Then I'll work on this side, and I'll work on, you know, where the handmade stuff goes. Mm-hmm. So that we're working together instead of getting in each other's way, or we keep questioning everything where everything goes. So, I mean, I think it's really going to look nice.
Streamline.
So
It's always good to have a plan. I'm a visual person, and I am always making lists and writing things down. And like if I know I'm going to have time off and I have a bunch of stuff to do, and I make it a very detailed list. And I always put on far more than I know I'm going to be able to get done. But it's better for me because my brain tends to want to drift and it locks up, and then I'm standing there staring, like you say, because that's just me. What did I want to do next? Well, if I stand there too long, I lose my motivation. So if I keep lists and things going, it keeps me on track as to what I need to do and in what order.
And then you're not getting sidetracked is my thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when we were kids,
earlier.
you'd start cleaning your room. Mm-hmm. And you're, oh, look, I forgot I had well, maybe I should put this over. Oh, look at this. Oh, let me read. You know,
while
and then
I'm
you're
over here, I'm going to do that.
You're
you
in one
that
spot
and
you've totally got nothing accomplished.
Yeah,
So it's just one of those things that we really wanted to kind of have a plan in mind.
We're limited on the amount of time we need to go in, tackle it, and get it done. Because if we get stuck and we don't complete this, we're going to have a mell of a hess, as my mom used to say. A mell of a hess. And then on Wednesday, we'd be in there with customers scrambling to finish. So.
Yeah. You know what? And let's say, too, that there are a lot of people who don't have the advantage of having a restocking day. So it is even more important that you have a plan, or that you have, if you have to do something big, break it down into smaller chunks so that you can go in and maybe work in one area so you're not disrupting it. Or if you truly have to disrupt the whole thing, if you have a plan and you get in there, you're going to shorten that amount of time that things are wrecked, where people aren't going to be able to walk in there and shop.
Well, you know what they say. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
You got to kill it first.
One bite at a time.
That'd be one heck of a spit over a fire there, wouldn't it? So yeah, I mean, having a plan, and if you don't have a restocking day, I know we're very fortunate in that our owners, provide this for us. But if you go in there and you need to do a 4-hour job, and you can get yourself together and get in there and knock it out in a shorter amount of time, then that's going to be, that much less time wasted where people say, oh, you got something going on, and I'm not going to look in your booth.
Yep.
So,
Lost sales.
So it's even more important.
Yeah.
And even though it seems like we have all day, that's a lot. It's still going to go fast, and we're just going to have to, like, nose to the grindstone and get it done.
Yeah.
Because it's important, and I want to get the majority of it done. So...
And hopefully my arthritis won't hurt too bad, so I can get down on the floor real easy to get that shelves.
Well, if you get on the floor, then at least work from like nose down while you're sitting on the floor.
That's
just
what I do.
Scooching, yeah.
I plant, just like you're talking about planting things. If I have to put away cereal and other things that go under the counter in there,
you get it
everything all
up.
lined up along the edge of the cabinet. So when I'm down there, I don't have to get back up again.
Amen.
Because getting down's easy. Getting back up ain't so easy.
Yep. So I hope we gave everybody some food for thought. And it's funny because when we were talking about doing the podcast this week, I said, we're going to talk about our thought process on how we decided how we're going to tackle this project. Because we've been doing this a while. And this strategy may not work if you're a first-time person stepping in and putting stuff in a booth. Because you have to kind of just use what you have on hand for display, etc. And you may not have this point, but we have graduated to the point where we know how these shelves are going to work and that they're going to be better than what we have visually and spatially, all that stuff. It's just going to be all around a better idea. And we've been doing this long enough that we know this is the best way for us to tackle it and for us to get organized. Because when you're in there by yourself, you can move stuff around and do whatever. But when it's the two of us, it's kind of like if I know what I'm doing and she's just kind of watching me, it's like one person's working and the other one's going, what are we doing now? Or what are we going to do now? Where are we moving this? And I didn't want that to be the case. I wanted us to have all the thinking done.
Like a well-oiled machine.
Well, yeah, that's the plan. But it's funny because now that we've told you how we're going to do it.
Yep, you'll get to see it.
You're going to get to see it. And depending on how it goes, we may even do a follow-up. We could do a follow-up podcast next week and say, these are the expectations that didn't quite work out. This is where the plan was on spot. This is where it was, we didn't consider A, B, and C. So you think that would probably be a good thing to do next week?
Sure. What do y'all think? Is that okay with you?
Well, everybody's nodding their heads, so we're good.
Oh, there we go. We're nodding to sleep, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know about
so
nodding.
I think between this podcast and the next one, we'll put the video up. So you'll hear what our thinking is. You'll get a step-by-step video showing you how we did it. And then we'll do a follow-up podcast and say, we didn't really think about this part of it, or, this part that we decided, didn't quite work out as we had planned, or it worked out better, or whatever. So you'll be able to kind of see how the planning and the implementation, how it's actually going to work. Yeah. So I think doing that, I'm going to make sure that we bring my plug-in microphone so that the quality is good on that. That's the other thing. Write everything down, what you need to bring. So she has a list of what she's bringing. I have a list of what I'm bringing, because that would take so much time if I thought, oh man, I left something at home. I mean, that's a half an hour, 15 minutes home, get what I need, 15 minutes back. That's just an incredible waste of time.
Make a list.
And knowing that everyone's going to be there restocking, there's not going to be a hammer to be found in the building.
Oh, no.
So don't rely on other people having your stuff there. Or, hey, there might be a thing of extra nails up front. Just don't even think that way. You bring what you need, have it on hand, and just be ready to make it happen.
It's even
So-
hard to come up with a vacuum on those days.
Oh, yeah. And the carts, people will load up their cart, bring it in, and park the cart.
Yep.
Instead of taking
Unloading
everything
it,
off, go put the cart back so somebody else can use it.
I have a small one I'm going to bring, so that'll help with some
Because
of it.
the only time we're going to need a cart is to take those big shelves to the back to the furniture room.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's gonna work out well. I think we're gonna do really well on it, and it's gonna allow us to kind of, you know, get a breath of fresh air for the customers
Reinvigorated.
and for us. Like you
Yeah.
said, you get bored. There's days you go in and you just kind of put everything down and just go, no.
So like cleaning or something at home,
Yeah.
it's like, this needs something, but I just don't feel like it right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, and it's easy to put things off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we tell you, you know, week to week, here's what you should do. Here's how to do that. That we have those same moods too, where we go in and me and her are like, let's walk around, or let's go back to the cafe and sit and
To
talk.
do absolutely
you know?
what you need to.
Yeah.
Just let's straighten up, fluff. Okay, let's go.
And you know what? When you get to that point where that's the prevailing thought, then you need to change something up. I knew it was time to cut my hair short when I wore it up more than I ever wore it down. 90% of the time I wore my hair up. And I'm like, it is time to hack it off.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. So there you go.
I just wear mine up.
Well, you have a job where you need to keep it out of your face and stuff.
And what did you tell me not long ago? That's when you need to cut it, because I told you about my ponytail. And I like to braid it or clip it right, because I'm always bending over toilets now.
Yeah, that kind of changes things.
And it's like, I don't like, no, I'm not brush cleaning with my hair.
Yeah.
So you're like, it's time to cut it off short like mine.
There you go. I keep trying
Hey,
her to bring her to the
I
right
love
side,
you.
but
I
nope, she
love
don't
you to
want-
pieces, but I don't want to look like you. We sound alike. I don't want to look like you do.
Yeah. Well, people could tell us apart this week since I sound
Well,
so stuffy.
a lot of people up there's a couple of people tell us the only way I know you two apart is because you got the long hair and she's got the short.
Yeah, and you know what? When I was there a couple weeks ago, when you weren't there, when I told you, you know, I'm just doing a couple things, don't bother coming in. And a couple of people called me Kim, and I just didn't even say anything. 'Cause
She's on the ad committee, and I've had people come up, oh, here, I'll give you some stuff from the ad committee to take there. Here's some money, and and I'm like, I'll tell my sister when I see her to come see you. Yeah, we get mixed up all the time.
Yeah, so I had a couple, Kim, you know, Val, we were talking to today, she called me Kim the other day, and I was like, that's okay. That's okay. I just hope they call me Kim. If I do something bad, then they could say Kim did it.
Thanks, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, is that all we had then?
That's about it. I think we've hashed this one over the cold quite well.
You know what's funny is, I mean, this past Monday, I was death warmed over. I mean, I texted Kim and I'm like, so what's the plan for today?
I know when you said that, I knew you had.
Because I was like, oh man, I gotta do this. We gotta do this. It's restocking day. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm doing A, B, and C. What do you mean? And I said, it's not restock. It's restocking.
You said it's restocking today or next Monday? I was like, I knew you.
She said next Monday, and I was like, oh, thank goodness. I tell you, if I would have went up there, and I would have went up there as sick as I was, I would have passed out and face planted on
And
the
I
floor.
probably would have died along with you because I would have been ready to kill you if I didn't.
Oh my gosh, that was my worst day. I mean, I didn't go thrifting that day. You knew I had to be on death's doorstep practically for that to happen.
So your upload for that video is just going to be a blank screen with music playing.
I already warned people you're not getting one.
You're not getting it.
In fact, I did get up that morning. I did go to the first place. I found one item. I was in there half an hour. Went to go get in line. It was a dozen people in line. My legs are literally shaking. That's how sick I was. And I said, pardon my French, what the hell am I doing here? What am I doing? What am I doing to myself? So I parked my cart, and I got in the car, and I drove home. And Mr. Pudgy Picker was just getting ready to leave for work, because it was like 7:45. And he's like, you're back a little early? And I go, I'm going to bed. And he's like, okay. So I literally slept all day Saturday, all day Sunday, all day Monday, in the middle of the night, I woke up and I'm like, I think I feel better. My temperature's gone. So I'm trying not to overdo it. But you know how that is. You know how it is. So I did a little bit of laundry yesterday because otherwise everybody in the house would have been naked.
Thanks for saying that. I got to put my load in the dryer.
There you go. I'm so glad I came in handy.
Ooh, I won't have no underwear tomorrow. No.
Okay, TMI. Too much information. Okay, so that is it for our podcast this week.
On that note.
Yep. That's a good place to I would say put a period at the end of the sentence, but that brings up a whole nother visual. So we hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you have a question or a comment or anything. We'd love to hear from you. Or you can email me, jen@pudgypicker.com. Follow me. You should be able to do that. One of these days I'm just going to say, take it away, Kim. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter under The Pudgy Picker. On Instagram, it is the THE_Pudgy_Picker. So
Had to be difficult on that one, didn't you?
that's, you know what? That's all I could do. That's all you get.
That's
all you get. So we hope that you will tune in next week when we have our
for another
follow-up.
riveting episode.
When we have our follow-up to how we did once we did the move, and we'll let you know how
if we're
good
still
or
alive,
bad the plan went.
if we manage not to kill each other.
Yeah. So we will see you guys next week, and until then, bye.
Bye.